Welcome back to another edition of Red Zed Adventures, the Halifax Grand Tour, proceeding counterclockwise on the map from the point you see indicated on the Barrington Highway. We've just passed under the McDonald Bridge. There are two major bridges across Halifax Harbor, and it'll be easy for you to remember which is which when I tell you that the McDonald Bridge is the old bridge, and Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. So that's how you'll remember the older bridge is the McDonald and the newer bridge is the McKay. For most purposes, traveling back and forth between the Halifax and Dartmouth side of the harbor, the McKay Bridge, the newer, larger bridge, is preferred, but you may find there are reasons that you might want to take the McDonald Bridge. We're proceeding up Barrington Avenue, past the shipyards now with a view of the harbor. That's why this is part of the Grand Tour. The lovely views of the harbor as you proceed up Barrington Avenue. And we've arrived at the Irving Shipyard Assembly Hall for Canada's next generation of warships. The destroyers are being built in Halifax, and it will give you a notion of the size of that enterprise when you see how long it takes to drive by this enormous building where that work is being done. And then you get a little more harbor view after the building is finally passed. As you proceed up Barrington, there are some other light industrial locations that break up the view of the harbor, but we'll skip past those down to the end of Barrington, where you proceed under the new bridge, the McKay, which is just ahead of, you can see in the frame, and a view over the transition from Halifax Harbor to the Bedford Basin. That's the name of the body of water that broadens out after the harbor. You'll see a little boat speeding out from the basin into the harbor on the right in a moment. As we pass under the bridge, Barrington Avenue, we'll bend around and meet the Bedford Highway. There it is, the boat I mentioned. That's the Bedford Basin you see spanning the horizon. And we're just now proceeding down to the interchange where we will merge right onto the Bedford Highway. One of the virtues of taking the Grand Tour as I have designed it in the direction I have suggested is the ease of all of these turns and interchanges. The most complicated ones I've made as right turns, or in this case, just simply a right merge. So it makes everything as easy as it can possibly be for the driving and as scenic as you can possibly have as a tour of a large North American city. Now we're on to the Bedford Highway, and you can see the port, the cranes and containers to your right, and they quickly pass to yield more views of the Bedford Basin. Almost all of the drive up the Bedford Highway is charmed with views of the Bedford Basin, and the farmers market is right there. As you proceed, we're still looking at alternating containers and view and containers and view. But I've left a nice long stretch of driving on the Bedford Highway in here because, as you can see, we're talking about a highway through the heart of a major city on a weekday afternoon here. And it's just a beautiful drive. And I guess that's why I wanted to share it with you. This could be you next summer or even later this fall. Sometimes the scenery just speaks for itself. So the Bedford Highway continues all the way up the Bedford Basin and past this intersection, but this is where we're going to leave it. This is the intersection, I've given you a nice long look at it, of the Bedford Highway and Hammond's Plains Road. And so from the Bedford Highway, we're turning left, although the other direction is a shopping center and not the road. So it's the only way you can turn onto Hammond's Plains Road at that intersection. And we'll proceed now west across the edge of the city underneath the 102, which is probably the highway. If you're driving to Nova Scotia, that's the highway you'll take into Halifax. So that's another opportunity for you to begin the grand tour from a point of convenience. Once you are headed down the 102 into Halifax for the very first time, if you see the exit that says Hammond's Plains Road, you can simply take that exit. This is the interchange we're driving under right now. Simply take that exit and turn right onto the Hammond's Plains Road, and you'll begin the grand tour from that point. And your first turn from there would be at Tantallon, which we're going to now skip ahead to. The Hammond's Plains Road has services, restaurants, gas stations, but not a lot of the best scenery. So we're just going to skip it, and this is now the end of the Hammond's Plains Road. It passes a couple of shopping centers right at the end, and then it comes to a T at Nova Scotia Highway 3, the St. Margaret's Bay Road. If you've watched the first episode, we began on the St. Margaret's Bay Road, but we are now at the other end of it, turning right to go to Peggy Cove. So here we are turning right onto Nova Scotia Highway 3, St. Margaret's Bay Road, and we're going to proceed only for the length of the next stoplight, and that will be Nova Scotia Highway 333, the road to Peggy's Cove, the famous scenic lighthouse and tourist attraction, Peggy's Cove. So here we are, just the next stoplight from our turn, our right turn. Now we're going to make the left turn onto Route 333. The road to Peggy's Cove. We're going to save that drive. We are going to save that drive and its scenery for the next episode. And you'll want to tune in for that one. That's just about as pretty as any scenery gets. So thanks for joining us. We hope to see you soon for part 3 of the Halifax Grand Tour on Red Z Adventures. Cheers!